Hey, what's up you guys? This is Junior Trader, and in this video let's take a look at our Tesla stock. This week Tesla has its earnings. So let's identify what are the key areas to watch, what is the structure telling us as for where we are, how to trade even before until earnings, and how can we prepare ourselves for the earnings as well. We'll talk about all through the lens of technicals in this video, and by the end of this video you would know everything how to plan this week for your trade. With that, I also want to let you know, none of this is any financial advice, only for education purposes, just sharing my opinion. Please do your own thing. None of this is any financial advice. It's not a financial advice, my friends. Just educational purposes. All right, so let's jump right into it. So here we are, Tesla on the daily interval, right? We have lately slipped lower. Now, what I want to see when we see a pull back into a demand zone, I want to see a follow through. That's great. That's first time still a position building time, right? And but however, as we struggle right up here, we got to size down because thing is not following through. And in Tesla case, not just that, we have also lost a critical area that I have marked here with the blue box, that we needed to stay above it to still stay in the strength. So definitely there is weakness. Now, I don't expect any big move before earnings. At this point, market on Tesla would wait until the earnings have happened. Either direction, up or down. We'll talk about that as well in just a while by the end of this video. But as for right now, we are talking before the earnings scenario. Tesla is in the weakness. Now let me take you to the weekly interval, and weekly interval is still negative. Okay, so that's where we are also in a problem. We are still seeing, yes, those demand zones of the last those 2 weeks held nicely, but we also are forming a supply zone up on the top, right? So what is the recent price action? That's the supply zone. So we are still on the supply side right now on Tesla. So that's what we have to all combine together, right? And that's where when the follow through didn't happen, we got a size down, right? So let's get to the hourly interval. And as I said, my tools will help you in identifying, guys, everything, what is the direction bias for us and how to trade it. Like for example, on weekly interval, let me turn on my another tool. One is already turned on, and you can see we are already in the weakness. We haven't changed the structure to the bullish, right? And let me take it to the daily interval. Let's turn on this tool again here as well. And you can see our bias lately has still been negative. We haven't really turned around in the bullish structure here. I'm on the passive mode. Again, what are the features? Well, if you have access to my tools, you know that. If you need access to my tools, check out the details in the description of this video. You will receive onboarding videos as well to know how to use these tools. Now, so now this is the scenario that we are talking before the earnings, so Monday and Tuesday. Let's get to the hourly interval. Only and only if, like, Tesla has to recover first, right? Tesla is in still holding these lower highs here, okay, and lower lows potentially. It did try to hold here itself, but it couldn't really stay above that 252 area that was important for us for an uptrend. Now, at this point, Tesla, as I said on Wednesday as well for Thursday, you are watching this 246 area. If we stay below it, we are still technically in negative structure, and you can see we just rebounded, and just below that, we sold off again. So that still remains an important area that we need to break out and above 246 and 62 cents. So Monday, if you start to see Tesla hourly candle close and start to break above 243 and 71 cents, it could be a start, and the next level of confirmation will be 246 and 68 cents. If we can do both of this, at least that sets up Tesla until earnings to an uptrend. Okay, and anyhow, if we stay below this level and continue to stay below 243 and 58 cents, we will still be in the, unfortunately, the weakness side on Tesla. And anyhow, as if we also lose 238 and 80 cents, then we are watching levels like 244 and 60 cents and maybe 226 area again down there. So those are the near-term levels to watch. That will define Monday and Tuesday. Now Tesla's earnings are on Tuesday. All right, now no one knows what's going to happen through the earnings, guys. Everything can be great, things may still fall. Everything can be bad. Things may still go up. No one knows. All right, So how do we prepare for that? Now it's all comes down to where's the structure as it's negative right now, where can it really turn around, right? So gap up or gap down. If Tesla can gap up during the earnings above 277 and 65 cents, that is a room that we can play eventually for the long term to an upside. Yes, 200 days moving average will still be a blocker for us, but that gap up will be good enough as we can do 277. I'll talk when possible other scenarios as well when the earnings happens, because I want to see how much if gap up happens, that is above 275, if that happens. So that's what would only open up Tesla at this point to an uptrend. If gap down happens, and if we lose this gap down to 20 area, 212 to 225 area, this area blue box down there, unfortunately that opens up Tesla eventually to come down to $170. Yes, if we gap down below 220 area, we're gonna come down to eventually 108 and 70. That's the zone. So yeah, it all comes down to technically a big move. It's all about the earnings now, and we'll see what happens. All right. It can also remain sideways, right? So as if it can, if it doesn't do anything, if it remains sideways, then it will come to the near-term technicals, which will form by Tuesday, right? So we'll talk about those at that point. But if it doesn't, if it still stays in between the range of 221 and 272, even after earnings, then we'll have to look at the near-term price action. All right, so which will, as I said, will form by Tuesday. There's no point in talking about that right now. Now, yeah, anyhow, Monday and Tuesday, I gave you the levels before earnings, what to watch, and after earnings, how are we looking at for the bigger moves and the direction, what, as if it gaps up and gaps below those zones, how things may eventually turn out. Now, and definitely above 270, if we gap up, then $326 open up that target, okay? Now, here's the thing. Yeah, as I said, yeah, we do have earnings, and it all comes down to that. So just be prepared. As I said, usually unless there's any huge news, usually until before earnings, things usually just slows down. They wait for the company to come with their earnings, and it all comes down to that. But anyways, that's something to watch, guys, going in this week on Tesla. And yeah, it's all reliant on for a good breakout on the gap up or gap down technically. And near term is what I just told you for Monday and Tuesday, the levels to watch from the hourly interval. Oh, and by the way, if you want to know the weekly picks for this week that I provided to the members, check out the details in the description of this video. There is a just check out the memberships, guys. The details are over there. Go to my Patreon. You will see those posts for the weekly picks, and you can check out those information there. All right, take care, guys. Bye.